Donald Trump had a press conference in New York City today where he took some questions from reporters, but there's something that a lot of people have missed that is not getting enough coverage that took place at this press conference, and it's two particular questions that were asked of him regarding issues that the President of the United States would have to be dealing with, and it just shows you his remarkable level of incompetence and his complete lack of knowledge on these important issues. I just think that this should have more eyeballs on it. So I'm going to show you these clips. We'll talk about them a little bit, but let's just dive right in. So the first clip I want to show you is a question that he was asked regarding President Zelensky of Ukraine and that ongoing conflict. And just take a look at his answer here.
President Zelensky said that you do not understand what it takes to win this war.
Oh, then I should immediately cancel my appointment. No, he knows. He knows I understand. Look, I hate to see the carnage. If I were president, it never would have happened. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine. Never, ever. And by the way, President Xi would have never even thought about Taiwan, which he's thinking about very seriously now, flying planes over it every single day. But President Putin would have never attacked. When I look at the horror show that's gone on, and the level of death is far greater than what is being reported. When you look at those cities, they're all knocked down, those beautiful, gorgeous golden domes, they're shattered and lying on their side, never to be replaced again. You can't ever replace that, 2,000 years old. When you look at the heritage of that really very vibrant country in so many different ways, and you see how it's been so broken, the people, so many people dead, where they have to use old soldiers, old men and young boys because they're running out of soldiers. It's a very terrible thing. And then you see that the United States is paying for most of it, and Europe is not chipping in. And all you have to do with Europe is the same thing I did with NATO. Say you have to pay. And if you say you have to pay, they will. It's very unfair to the United States, but I look forward to seeing him tomorrow. We'll see. I do believe, I disagree with him. Well, he doesn't know me, but I disagree. But I will say this. I believe I will be able to make a deal between President Putin and President Zelensky quite quickly.
But what does that look like? What does that look like? What does that?
I don't want to tell you what that looks like.
Okay, so a lot to talk about in that answer, but notice the lack of detail, right? The question that was asked to him was about President Zelensky saying that Donald Trump doesn't know what it takes to end this war. Because Donald Trump obviously doesn't. And instead of addressing that question, and instead of addressing what it takes to end the war, he just goes on this very surface level rant about, oh, I hate the carnage, oh, I hate this, and oh, I hate that. It's like the most basic position to take. Yes, everybody is opposed to the killing in Ukraine. Nobody wants this war to continue. But the reality is the war is going to continue. Putin is going to continue his aggression. He's going to continue sending missiles into apartment buildings in Ukraine. So how do we stop that? How do we best fight back? And Donald Trump couldn't answer that question. He can't answer that question. And we know that not only because we just saw his entire rant right there that lacked any substance whatsoever, but then at the end, a reporter asked him, what does that plan look like? How do you bring peace about between these two countries that you say you're going to do? And he says, oh, I don't want to tell you. That is him literally saying that he does not have a plan, that he doesn't know. He's just throwing it out there. And the point is here is that Donald Trump is so incompetent, and it's so dangerous for somebody who has this little of knowledge about this issue to be in the presidency, to win and be the most powerful person in the world. It would be dangerous to have somebody this unintelligent in the Oval Office dealing with an issue like this. His entire campaign is based on fluff. That's what we just saw right there, fluff. Very basic statements of, oh, I don't like the killing, I'm going to get it done. And when you ask any amount of specifics or nuance in this plan, when you ask him to detail what that looks like, he just folds. He crumbles, as we just saw right there. He crumbled, and it sounds like a child. It sounds like a kid that's like, oh, actually, I don't want to tell you now. I don't want to tell you. You were mean to me. I don't want to tell you. He has no idea what he's doing. And I haven't seen this question covered enough. This incompetence, that lack of an answer needs to be seen by more people. And here's the terrible thing. That answer is already bad enough, right? He's not answering the question. He's not giving any level of detail as a presidential candidate should be able to do on major issues. That's already bad enough. But he didn't just do this once. He did it twice. because there's another major conflict happening in the world right now, and it's in the Middle East. And he was asked about his plan, his policy, or what does he think is going to happen or what should happen in the Middle East. And take a look at that answer as well, because he did the exact same thing twice. No nuance, no specificity, no answer. Have a look.
Yesterday at the UN General Assembly came together to call for an immediate ceasefire. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is speaking at the UN tomorrow. He has refused to do that. What would you do differently to prevent the Middle East?
Well, you have to have that ended one way or the other. The world isn't going to take it. You have to have that ended, and I would think that we're getting close to a point where maybe it can end pretty soon. But you're going to have to end. That's unacceptable. The whole thing over there is unacceptable. That's another one. October 7th would have never happened. Would have never happened. Ukraine and Russia would have never happened. Think of it. Would have never happened. Inflation would have never happened. Think of the world. The Afghanistan pullout in that way. We would have pulled out, but we would have pulled out with dignity and strength. I'm the one.
Do you see how bad that is? Do you see how terrible? Like, he's asked about the Middle East, and by the end of it, he's talking about inflation. He's asked about what is his plan for the Middle East. Do you agree with a possible ceasefire in the conversation between Israel and Lebanon right now? Do you agree with that? You agree with that? He says, well, it has to end. It has to end. It has to end. He just keeps saying it has to end. It has to end. It has to end. But how? How is it going to end? And what would you do differently was the question. What would you do differently? You're saying that you could end it right now and that you're such a foreign policy genius all of a sudden. So what would you do differently? Donald Trump starts ranting about inflation. He never answers these questions. He has to be called out for this stuff. It's just fluff. He's not saying anything. There's nothing of substance in that answer. He didn't answer the question, and he didn't even give any detail about what's happening in the Middle East. I don't think that Donald Trump could find either Ukraine or Israel or Lebanon on a map. You put a world map in front of Donald Trump, you say, point to the Middle East. I think he goes to the Antarctic. I think he goes to Australia. I think he's looking at the North Pole. He has no idea what he's talking about. And that answer sounds like a kid in fifth grade who didn't do his book report and he just has to kind of go up there and wing it, right? Just say, oh, I love the book. That's what Donald Trump sounds like right here. Unprepared, no knowledge, no intelligence, nothing on these issues. And it's crazy that this is not getting more attention. The fact that he can't even answer questions about major policy positions that he would have as president. Either he does what we just saw, which is kind of just pivot to his usual talking points, inflation, Afghanistan, yada, yada, right? Either he does that, or he just straight up says, I don't want to tell you, as he did last time. Incompetence in the flesh. I'm truly blown away by how bad those clips are, not because it's unexpected from Donald Trump. I mean, we expect something like this from Trump, of course. But I'm blown away by how little detail there was and how his team can't even prepare him for stuff like this. If his team can't even give him solid answers on the Middle East and foreign policy generally, I don't think anybody from any political background in any part of the country should expect that Donald Trump would be able to handle this in a better way than is currently being handled. We know that. Donald Trump has no idea what he's doing. He always says that he scares these leaders, but his own advisors talked about how his knees would wobble when he met Putin or Kim Jong-un or whoever it might be. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. And that ignorance, that incompetence is actually dangerous. It's dangerous for this country. So anyway, I just wanted to show you these clips, make sure that more people are seeing this stuff. So I will wrap up the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about this. Share these videos with your friends, family, and loved ones. Make sure that they're seeing this as well. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.